close of play of the first day of the second test between Pakistan and England in Multan sees Pakistan close on 107 for 2, so that's 174 runs behind England's first innings total of 281. Shafiq was dismissed by Leach and Imam by Anderson, so 12 wickets have fallen today in all, but Babar remains on 61 not out from 76 balls, and Shakil is also with him. Anderson 1 wicket and Leach to that 1 wicket to fall. Now the main story, of course, happened earlier on when the debutant Abrar Ahmed took 7 wickets, the first 7 to fall, 7 for 114. He took his first, just his 5th ball in Test cricket, which was Crawley, who was bowled for 19, a carom ball. He's got a very unusual action. Waqar will talk about this in a moment. He flicks the ball out with the middle finger of his bowling hand. He can do it either way. It's a very cunning form of bowling. He's not the first to do that. There have been others who have done it. But he has done it to great success today. Crawley 19, Duckett 63, Pope 60. They took the score to 117 for 1 in the 19th over. Then Root was out for 8, Brook for 9. Stokes was literally open-mouthed. His jaw dropped with the ball that he received from Abrar, which pitched about middle and leg. It had the angle, of course, from over the wicket, but it just was that carom ball again that skidded on, moved away slightly and hit the off stump as Stokes played a perfect forward defensive shot. Jacks was LBW to Abrar for 31. Could he get all 10, we wondered? Well, then Zahid Mahmood nipped in with the last 3. Robinson for 5, Anderson 7. Jack Leach tried to reverse sweep the first ball that he faced, which is most un-Leach-like. Inevitably he was bowled for naught, and that was how it finished off, with Mark Wood 36 not out. He played some good shots in that from 27 balls, a very handy 36 too. So England 281 all out from 51 overs, with Abrar Ahmed finishing with 7 for 114, Zahid Mahmood 3 for 63. So those 2 spinners taking all 10 wickets between them. So Waqar's here and Vic Marks is here while we look back at that day in more detail. Waqar, before you go, quite something, wasn't he, Abrar? I mean, you and many other Pakistanis were saying, why wasn't he playing in the first test? He's only 24. Give him his debut, give him a go. They went for the 34-year-old instead, who got some wickets but was hammered. And well, you've had your answer today. I mean, he absolutely he tied England up in knots, really. I mean, they couldn't pick him for sure.
Yeah, purely because he is in good form. He's just picked up 43 wickets in 7 games before coming into the Test match, and I think when you're in form, that's the time when you want to play. That's the one time when you should be thrown in the deep end, and he's proven it right, and that's what surprised me. Why wasn't he given opportunity in the first game? Yes, maybe we might not gotten what he got on that surface, but yeah, he would have been a threat definitely, because he offers something very unique.
He's unusual, isn't he?
It's very unusual, yeah. And if you've not played him before, we were talking on air on television about they must have seen a lot of footage and seen a lot of videos of him and seen his hand really closely, but there's one thing seeing and there's one thing dealing with it, or yes, being out there and facing it. It's a different ball game, and he's shown that he's got class, he's got something which offers, and especially on this pitch where there's more turn, and once the ball starts spinning, and we all know that England likes to play those sweeps and all those cross-bat shots and funky shots, and he can be effective, and he's proven it that he is something very unique and can really survive in Test match cricket, and what a dream start. I mean, you cannot really ask for a better start than what we got. At some stage, I agree, you were saying that you could have taken 10.
10. I think it's extraordinary. Come on then, Vic. So that finger flicking the ball, his middle finger is sort of curled up behind the ball as he comes into bowl, so the batsman really's got no idea what's coming his way.
He's just laughing. Don't ask me to tell you how to do that. I can only roll it off break. But
fourth finger, Alex is saying. It's the fourth finger that's
it was magical, and he will have 2 or 3 victims that were brilliant. Ben Stokes was absolutely fluent. You saw his face after he was trying to defend.
Yeah.
But it went the other way and just clipped the top of it off. Zach Crawley, likewise. He was the other one. There were only 3 batsmen who got out defending.
Yeah.
All to him, because in 2 cases they didn't pick the Dusra, the other one.
Yeah.
Crawley through the gate. He was really just pushing, and glory be Joe Root as well, with a standard leg break. Oh, what a start to get those three. Root and Stokes in your first test match. Brilliant. The others he got because, as Wakar was saying, England, they like to score and they were going for big hits, and he got 2 or 3 LBWs and one up in the air. But it was an exciting debut. And England, they'll be looking at those film clips again
and
tonight.
again, yeah,
Hang on a minute. I didn't pick that up.
Well, Stokes definitely didn't. I mean, it's a lovely replay to see. His jaw literally dropped, and you think, how did I miss that? How did I miss it? He thought he had it absolutely covered.
Well, all the great, he probably gets that crucial bit of dip as well that the great spinners get. So Stokes, it was quite a full ball, and I think Stokes thought, whichever way it goes, I've got it covered. But the great bowlers, somehow, they get that ball to just a dip at the end of its flight path, and it's not quite as full as you think, and it can get past the bat. So
I think what we can say, Wacker, is a very different game to the one that we watched last week. The conditions are just so different. This will be a different type of cricket we're going to see here.
I think England's got to learn from this game. Yes, all those sweeps and reverse sweeps are good, that you score runs quickly, but you lose wickets quickly too. So if it's not spinning, then I am all for all those funky shots. But when it's turning, and if you keep on losing wickets, you'll be somewhere, it'll bite you. And I think that's where England's got to think hard. Because this pitch is not going to get better. This is going to get worse, because it is very dry. The cracks are already showing. Even the foot marks where the bowlers are running, it has shown that if it lands in, it can spit, or it can just sort of go sideways. So watch out.
What do you think a first innings score should be on that pitch?
Look, Pakistan's still behind, I feel, because the pace England has scored, so Pakistan need to just match that score first of all, without sort of losing too many wickets. Maybe 1 or 2 they can afford, maybe 4 down and get to somewhere, level with England. And because the second inning you'd be needing lead. Whoever gets a little bit of lead, even 30, 40, 50, or more maybe, that will really play a big role, because even if you lose quickly the wickets in the second inning and you get to maybe 250, 270, it'll be hard to chase down that score.
Yeah. What do you think, Abe? What do you think that first? Well, you win toss, bat first. What would you?
I think the Pakistan dressing room will be relieved, because they're right in the game here, and they could easily. They've batted pretty well tonight, and they could easily get a first innings. There are times, and we love the way England are playing. It's exciting. But then I think, in a slightly old-fashioned way, they're more interested in runs per over than they are their total. And likewise, when they're in the field, they're more interested in their strike rate than the total. Because I was feeling for Jack Leach with Shakil there, because I just felt that, and I suspect Leach felt the same, that every time he wanted to come down and hit him over mid-wicket, it's another 4. And whilst you've got 3 men, I mean, even Warne used to say, you attack with the ball but not and defend with the field. So you don't, when you've got 3 or 4 men out round the bat and you've got no one out there, I mean, it's almost a free hit.
Hitting with the spin.
And I was feeling, as an old spinner, I was thinking, poor old Jack, he daren't ask one, because Stokes was saying, no, don't be stupid. So they're interested in strike rate and how quickly they can bowl them out, but sometimes forgetting that actually they raced along in that last session. They are now 170 behind, and Babar's still there, enjoying himself.
It's an interesting point you make, in that with the environments being set, and we hear a lot about the players buying into it. Is it difficult for a bowler, like a spinner particularly, to say, something, I'd like to have someone back there at deep wicket, just a bit of protection? Well,
you're still attacking in the sense, at the moment they had 3 men around the bat, so you're trying to make him Shakil prod, because he hasn't got that get out over there. But that's probably, it's out of fashion, that. But I think, I think I'd almost say I'd be, at the moment, I'd rather be in Pakistan's shoes. I think they've just edged this day. But, of course, it's a crazy day. 280 and 50 overs, first day of a test match.
I must ask you before you go, Waka, Azhar Ali, did you see that coming, the fact that he'd be left out today?
Yeah, I saw that coming because it didn't look that great, and also especially when you have Nawaz and Fahim Ashraf both can bat and give you an option with the ball in hand also. So I think, give a little bit more cushion to the bowling also. I think it's a fair decision what Babar and company thought about it. And
do you think he'll come back? He's what, 37, 38 now?
I said it in the morning also. I'm not sure where his future holds, because going forward you probably look to bring or look into a younger lot. We brought in Shafiq also, and also Shan Masood waiting in the wings, who's been playing really, really well, who's scored heavily in English conditions also and in Pakistani condition. So maybe it's time for him to sort of get a go. So I cannot really say that it's all over for him, but because it has happened to him previously also. He's been dropped, and he works hard and he makes his comeback. So there's every chance that the kind of character he is, he might push himself back in the team. But at the moment, I feel that he's definitely struggling to come back in the next 3 Test matches. 1 against England and we've got 2 against New Zealand.
Waqar, thank you very much. We shall catch up with you tomorrow. If you're just joining us, 107 for 2 is how Pakistan finished at the close. So 174 runs behind Babar Azam on 61. Good to see Duckett scoring runs again, and the way in which he's scoring them. And funny enough, I suppose England's approach in Test cricket is more like one-day cricket at the moment. Bearing in mind the next World Cup is on the subcontinent. Next year. I mean, he's making big strides there.
Well, the sweep, he got a lot of runs from that sweep shot, and for a while he was rampaging. He was threatening dear old Gilbert again for a bit. I mean, he's such an exciting player to watch. He just went after. In the end, of course, he fell playing the sweep shot, but he'd scored a lot of runs from it and got England 117 for 1. They were just before he got out, and we thought this might be more of the same. So he's exciting. I mean, if you watch England now, as opposed to a few years back, you turn up on time because you want to see the openers go, because anything could happen. Crawley was majestic for about half an hour, and then Duckett, well, he's also McCullum's type of player. I mean, he'll have to fail quite a lot not to get picked, and he's very watchable, and he frightens bowlers, but he always gives you a chance, of course.
Good experience for Brooke and Jacks too, because they actually against a moment just a slowly spinning ball, but a bit of mystery going on and not quite sure which way it's going to spin. It's a good experience for them to have some of that.
Well, it is. It's all great experience. We're playing miles from home, and it's, in a sense, it's a more interesting and probably ultimately more beneficial experience than it would have been in Rawalpindi, because after a while, batting at Rawalpindi, it seemed, for them, was just like batting in an indoor net at home where the ball just doesn't move. And runs came. It was so simple. The whole process was very simple. Today, of course, more questions asked, more decisions to make. How am I going to play? What's the best way to play? There'll be plenty of food for thought. Obviously, this England setup won't be saying, well, I think you could be a bit more discreet there. Perhaps, because that's not what they say, but batsmen don't like getting out. So there is food for thought. Actually, I mean, I hate to say it, but the batsman who annoyed me most today was my dear Somerset sort of cohabiter, more or less, and Jack Leach. I mean, what is he doing playing a reverse sweep to the first ball? And you got Mark Woods. I mean, if he did that for Somerset, I think he might have got a ticking off from someone. You got someone smashing it here, there and everywhere, and he tries his reverse sweep first ball.
I've seen him play that before.
Well, I think I've seen him try and play that. I think he's trying to get into the feel of New England with the bat. I'm not sure that suits him quite as well as some of the others.
Andy, not quite the avalanche, I don't suppose, of stats that we've had over the last week, but anything?
Not quite, but England still won at 5.43 runs per over in their first innings, which is the third fastest opening innings of a Test. So the team in the first innings batting first. Rawalpindi set a new record. England's innings there won at 6.5 an over. And the innings in between was New Zealand against Australia in the 2015-16 season, when they went at 5.6 an over, and Brendan McCullum was instrumental in that, scoring 145 off 79 balls. England reached 200 in the sixth fastest a team's ever reached 200 in Test cricket in the 38th over. So they're still scoring fast. It doesn't seem quite as pyrotechnic because of what we saw last week. So there's, I guess, the standout stats of today were Abrar Ahmed's superb debut. He's the 12th bowler to take 7 wickets in the first innings of a Test debut in men's Test cricket, and only the second Pakistan bowler after Mohammad Nazir, an off-spinner, in 1969. The 16th player to take the first 7 wickets of a Test innings, the 10th to take the first 7 wickets of a Test, and the only other one to do it on debut, you've got to go back to 1950, and Alf Valentine for the West Indies against England in Manchester. The only other Pakistan player to do that was Saqlain Mushtaq against England in 2000, but that was quite a high-scoring innings, so not quite as dramatic as today. And he took his 5th wicket, Aggers, got on the honours board in the 31st over of his debut. Only one bowler in the history of Test cricket has completed a fifer earlier on day one of a debut than 31 overs, and that was Charles the Terror Turner back in 1887.
Always love a mention of Charles the Terror Turner. Excellent to get him in again. Thank you. Andy, last thought from you, Victor?
Well, the most positive thing to come out of this day is that, unbelievably, here we are in Pakistan with short days, and after that day there's every chance England will not draw this game either.
No,
they don't like draws,
true.
and I don't think they're headed for one at the moment.
Well, if you're listening and you've got nothing better to do today, find an orange, hold it and put your 4th finger behind it and try and bowl that orange, spinning the ball or the orange both ways, 20 odd yards or so onto a length, and that's what this young man has done today to take 7 wickets. See how accurately you can do it. See if you can get it spinning both ways, because that's what he's managed to do. Quite something. That was 7 for 114.